Letter regarding bounties, one of two. Author W. Hardin. Undated. To our stalwart benefactors. When I'm done here, the devil will be branded with Louisiana justice. He'll be nothing more than a stain on your shoes, easily cleaned, I swear. The train you sent coughed enough smoke to blot out the dawn as it trundled away. The man it left behind was slender, with a haughty figure, top hat and all. This can't be who they sent, I thought. No way, no how. Instinct drew my revolver as I waded through the smog, as fine of a first impression as I can give. A whistling wind swept the air between us away to reveal his pistol pointing back at me in kind. Took all my restraint to hold my fingers steady. I asked his name instead of shooting, but he was silent. That's when I saw what surrounded him. At least 20 cases of ammunition and weapons around his feet. I suppose ghosts must have unloaded it. He didn't seem the type to do it himself. I also suppose I have y'all to thank for the boon. Which way to the bounties, he asked after neither of us pulled the trigger. But someone else did. A gunshot rang from the station and a bullet ricocheted near his head. Didn't take long to snuff out our would-be ambusher. I read her rights, tied her to a tree, and stepped back 10 paces to execute. The man from the train shot her in 5. I'm a statesman, he said. I know how to treat vermin. Interview transcript 1 of 3. Interviewer unknown. Interviewee W. Hardin. Undated. I showed the statesman where that ungodly gator gave me my limp. He wanted to know everything there was to know about Rotjaw, her lightning, her token, her size. Eventually, we decided to hunt her for some good old-fashioned payback. It was the perfect chance for him to have his questions answered in person, and for me to grab some sway over his arrogant, prissy self. Didn't take long before we ran into the stench of vermin. Of one mind, the statesman and I cracked open our case of ammunition. Both of us knew the cases were supposed to last for the long, grueling crusade ahead of us. But damn if I can't resist the temptation of cutting a little loose. Not when we'd been blessed with the means. Just this once, I told myself. Afterward, over the bodies that were now riddled with all different kinds of bullets, we got to talking. Like equals this time. Bloodbaths always get the heart pounding and the mouth yapping. I flattered him by saying he's got a better shot than any lawman I'd seen before, save myself. He told me he's never met a sheriff who'd stay to protect a town where only the dead remain. I told him I'd mustered at least 3 fine hunters who were all for my cause of bringing back order. He told me his benefactors had plans for a lawman who can lead a slaughtering force from the front line. I told him I'd like to be privy to those plans. He said I was already doing my part. Turned out we saw the same bayou. Well, almost. To him, it was the ruins of remarkable towns, which were already in ruin. To me, it was chaos that needed order. At the very least, I agreed on his idea for what needed to be done about it. Interview transcript 2 of 3. Interviewer unknown. Interviewee W. Hardin. Undated. Later, the statesman and I took turns testing his new Mako rifle on the demented rabble scattered around Moses' poultry. They slobbered over themselves, hoping to bite the throats from the spider, lost in their delusions of ascension. I got one in the leg, then passed over the rifle. The statesman pumped the lever and waited, watching our prey scrabble in the dirt. It was then he told me about the benefactors. He said they were a council of rich folks playing poker with bounty tokens, dabbling in the occult. Well, not just the occult, our occult. Felt good to be initiated proper, to get a scrap of food after what felt like a full winter's starving. The statesman took another shot and passed the rifle before I registered a Demented's head explode to pieces. I aimed for another one, wanting to see if it had just been a lucky hit, or if the rifle really could fire true from 300 yards. Took my time, just like he did. But I reckon it was too long, since the lone man standing left his dead partner to the hunter with the wounded leg. Regardless, my shot landed true as steel, just as I heard the kicker. The idea of a new law done lit a fire in my soul. Same one as on the day I was handed a revolver and swore to protect New Orleans. Excitement is what it is. No, it's greater than that. You might call it faith. Faith can blind you, though. Someone in the bush tagged me with a silenced rifle. The ammo was something that had me bleeding from both my ears. I took cover and patched myself up. When the dust settled, the statesman was gone. Whoever took him only left behind a fish speared on a branch, wearing his top hat. Interview transcript 3 of 3. Interviewer unknown. Interviewee W. Hardin. Undated. I am nothing if not a man of restraint, so the first idea that struck me was to do nothing. The statesman knew what he signed on for, didn't he? Knew from the moment he got swamp muck on his shiny shoes. I'd only need to write a letter to say he perished on the hunt, and then there'd be one less person to answer to. Hell, if I'd have known how much he was still getting paid, then I very well might have gone through with it. Instead, I did what I always do. My duty. This was our opportunity, our test. Us lawful had spread ourselves across the bayou and held guard in our own stations, but now was the time to gather and demonstrate our worth. Time for me to demonstrate my leadership to those who ceded it to me. We were the beginning of a new law, so steel and gunpowder had to test the truth. I had to show that our authority would birth order. It's true that this test would involve purging unruly citizens from the earth. Once every green moon, duty and pleasure do happen to mix. So I investigated. Hard interrogations. Not that soft jail cell prodding the governor always called for. When the next train pulled in, we had to have the statesman in tow, or else the additional arsenal he commissioned was fixing to be forfeit. Letter regarding bounties, 2 of 2. Author W. Hardin. Undated. To our stalwart benefactors and your many cast shadows. Never hurts to have scouts on hand, and that's what I designated those primals after I gave the statesman his hat back. For now, anyway. We let the lot of them take the train. It was infected anyway. And I'd prefer a clean ride across the wests of our country. The statesman couldn't give a straight answer as to why our backers would send a train in such condition. Was it a test? Some statement or warning? We agreed that, at best, it was a call for aid. So aid I'll give, along with the official leave of absence I'm about to offer Louisiana and her mud-slicked shores. 10 years I've served these parts, 3 now under the name Sheriff Hardin. Seen lots in the way of bedlam and betrayal in that time, with my loyalty pointed north, south, east, and west. I never considered doing more than upholding the law in New Orleans until now. You'll make a fancy man of me yet. A new law needs the sacrificing of the old one, so I've been told. Mark my words, though. This truce won't last. When it expires, I won't need a trained supply of firepower to keep it in check. I'll need an army. See, we put down vermin here, Your Honor. But they breathe the same air as we do. And sometimes it's hard to see what side of the fence you sit on. So some get let go this time. You know what it does to a sheriff to shake the poison-marked hand of a stray rabid lion, swallow his pride and betray the law he was sworn to die for? Neither do I.